Thank you, Bill. That's a blessing to the world, right? Thank you for starting us with that blessing. Good morning. This is Unity of Orange County, and we welcome you in this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's begin with our mission and vision statement. It's going to be here on the board. Centered in divine love, we joyfully co-create a world that works for all. And our mission, to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. I have a few announcements this morning. I'd like to take an opportunity first to thank the wonderful people that are here helping make this service possible. We have Bill on the piano. Again, thank you. We have John and Waverly running our live stream. We have Tom doing sound, and we have Matthew running the video today. So thank you all, and Reverend Annie will be our guest speaker. What a treat. And I'm Reverend Allison, and I'm going to be doing the daily word and the meditation. So let's get on with the announcements. Thursday, September 3rd, we're going to be having Legacy, Blessing, and Gratitude Zoom class, and it's from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. In the class meeting, we'll be formally writing a blessing to someone in the future to promote their happiness, well-being, affirming their gifts and their talents. Sounds like a lovely gift to give somebody, so please join us with that. And it's really designed specifically to move you from your head to your heart. So that's the opportunity, and there's no need to register, and the Zoom number is 868-6214-9963. And then Monday, September 7th, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on Zoom, we'll be having our gratitude group. With everything going on, it's really important to just stop for a moment and give gratitude for what's happening in our lives and what's good. And just to affirm our gratitude so that we can bring more good in. So this group will lift your heart, and it'll give an opportunity to lift your spirits as well. And you can really check out all our activities and things that are going on our website, www.unityoforangecounty.org, if you missed any of the Zoom numbers or any of the opportunities. And did you also know that instead of going to just Amazon when you shop, if you go to Amazon Smile, which is the same thing, amazonsmile.com, whether you have the Plus or anything else, and you put in Unity of Orange County, then we get a percentage of whatever you spend on that. And it's just really a nice, painless way to help support our community. So if you would be so kind when you're doing your shopping, and I don't hate to mention it, but the holidays will be coming up soon. So if you're one of those great people that plans ahead, just think about that before you do your shopping and go onto Amazon Smile. It's the same prices, it's the same products, it's the same memberships. It just gives us an opportunity to make a little extra money, and it's very painless, and it supports our community. And if you're enjoying our videos, it would be really appreciated if you would subscribe and like the morning videos, because that just helps us know that you're out there, and we honor you and know that you're listening, and we really appreciate that. And also, if you like, and we would appreciate it as well, share those with your family and friends that you think might need the message. We were discussing before the service started a couple weeks ago, Reverend Arlene told this fabulous story about her being on a trapeze. So go back and look that one up, because it's hysterical. And so just share that with anybody that you might think that you're interested. And if you would like to share gifts with us, you can text your donation to 77977. And in the message, you can type Unity of OC Give, and then just put in your donation. And we try to make it very easy for you to support us and help us. So that's one of the ways that you can do it in an easy format. Again, you just type 7797, type in Unity of OC Give. And you can do a one-time payment, or you can do a recurring one, which really makes it a lot easier, because then you don't have to think about it. It just continues. So let's turn it over to Bill then for some wonderful music. All right, so I invite you now to get ready for our daily word and our meditation. And just kind of breathe in these words as I read them. And the daily word for today, Sunday, August 30th, 2020, is light. The light of God surrounds me. When darkness casts shadows in my life or in the life of someone I care about, I call upon the divine light that gives within me and expresses as me. Just as the light of the sun illuminates the sky, the light of God illuminates my mind, brightens my soul, and warms my heart. Even during life's darkest moments, the light of God is always shining within me, just as it shines within all people. And basking in this light, I find the strength and power to lift myself up. Through acts of service and loving kindness, I can be the light that helps guide others through the darkness that they may be facing. Every smile, kind word, thoughtful deed, or offer of help has the potential to brighten someone's day. And the scripture this morning is Psalms 112, verse 4. They rise in the darkness as the light for the upright. They are gracious, merciful, and righteous. And now we'll just prepare for our meditation. And I invite you to just find that comfortable space to just relax into this moment. Sitting with your feet on the floor. Just begin to take those wonderful healing breaths. And as those breaths begin to calm us, let us go deeper. And let us affirm together, the light of God surrounds me. And now begin to feel that light radiating in and through you. Picture that ball of light, that presence. And as it starts to come through you, feel the warmth. Feel it embracing you. And now allow it to warm every part of you, all the way to your deepest soul. And now affirm this with me in the silence. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. As you're basking in that wonderful glow and in that wonderful warmth, just begin to surrender all that is unlike your truth. Just let it go and be in this moment. And as you further take a moment to just surrender even more, to relax every part of you and bask in this glow. Repeat the affirmation. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. And when you're ready, you can return your attention to this moment in this place. But gently keep that warmth encircling you. And remember, anything that comes up for you, you can affirm once again, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. And so it is.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Good, beautiful, beautiful morning. Thank you so much, Bill, for that beautiful, beautiful music. And thank you, Reverend Allison, for that beautiful meditation. Sort of sets the tone for the day today. So, good morning again to everybody. I'm giving you your message today. But before I start with the message, I want to begin with a prayer because I realize that there's so much going on this planet today, so much stuff that my human mind tries to wrap itself around it and figure it out. And I just can't with my human mind. But what I can do is I can turn to that divine mind, that divine presence within me that knows all, that sees all, that creates all, that is all. So as I begin this day today, I just want to open up with a prayer, giving thanks for this day and all the blessings that this day hold. Giving thanks for the sunrise this morning, giving thanks to the birds, the bees, the trees, giving thanks for this day, this beautiful day that God has made, calling us forth to be happy and rejoice in it. And so I accept the gift of this day with joy and gratitude. And in this heightened state of gratitude, I speak a word of blessing for and about people and life on this planet that may have a different path than my own path. And I'm remembering the firefighters that are working so diligently to contain the fires. I'm remembering the people that have lost their lives. I'm remembering the people that are left behind. I'm remembering the burned down houses. I am remembering the people that left with nothing. And I'm also remembering what I can do is know that there is a power, there is a presence, there is an activity, and I need not do anything except for hold these entire situations in the light of God. And I can call forth legions of angels, both human and divine, to come forth, to bless and heal what has caused hurt and harm, bring forth a little peace, a little happiness, a little joy, to get everyone through the next step. So in gratitude, I just bring all of this into my day. I give so much gratitude for the gifts in my life. I give thanks for the opportunity to share words of gratitude, to share words that may be of help. And knowing as I share these words, they're like a drop of water rippling down into the great cosmos of vibration. And that vibration blesses and heals and makes happy and glad my day. So thank you, Holy Spirit, for holding us all in your eternal embrace. I release this word into the law of infinite possibilities. I let it be, and so it is done. Amen. So thank you for indulging me in that prayer. So my talk today is about owning your day. And that, for me, has been a tall order. It's been enlightening for me to live through the realization that I am the one who gets to own this day. I am the one who gets to give this day away if I don't treat it with delicacy and the beauty of it. No one can steal my day. No one can take away my day. It is mine, and I stand firmly with my feet on the ground, with the roots coming up from the earth to own my day and all that's involved in it. And I got to tell you, this week, as I was thinking about owning my day, I had a couple of slip-ups. And one of them was kind of comical. I woke up in the morning, and I usually make coffee before my husband gets out of bed, so I recently bought a new coffee pot. And when I made the coffee, something jammed up the filter, and the coffee overflowed out of the filter onto the countertop and on the floor, and then there were coffee grinds every place. And just like that, I had given up my day. I almost gave up my day to the coffee pot. Seriously, something as simple as a coffee pot had the potential, had I given it power, to rule my day. So how often do we allow stuff like this, unbeknownst to us, to really take charge of our day. It wasn't the coffee pot's fault that I didn't check the filter. It wasn't the countertop's fault. It wasn't, I didn't even need to assign blame. But what I needed to do was take responsibility. How, if I didn't take responsibility in that moment, that coffee pot could have been the catalyst for my whole day. So starting out my day, I have learned affirmations and prayers and all kinds of things to help me along my day. So when I run up against things that have the potential to take my day and run with it, I have these little door stops that help stop me. And I have learned these things over the years. Many years ago, probably 30 years ago, I was trained and I worked with the World Ministry of Prayer with United Church of Religious Science. And in my training, they gave me a big manual with a lot of prayers about every particular situation and circumstance. And so when people would call and ask for prayer, I had a printed prayer that I could read to them, whatever the situation was. If it was sickness and they needed healing, there was a prayer for healing. If it was for a relationship, there was a prayer for that. And after I would pray with people, they would be so excited. So when my life moved on and I could no longer do the World Ministry of Prayer, I kept the binder and I kept those prayers. And I read those prayers and I memorized those prayers and I embodied those prayers. And so because I've done that over the years, I have a greater awareness of those times when I need to stop and say, this is not going the way I intended it. One of us needs to give up their control of this day. And so whoever woke up and said, this is my day, they get to have the day. So I said, this is my day. And so I own my day. One of my favorite writers is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he's a New Thought guy from way back. And I found a quote of his that really, I'm embracing. And he writes, write it on your heart that every day is the best day, and no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. He goes on to say, finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin it well and serenely, with too high a spirit to be cambered with old nonsense. The new day is too dear with its hopes and its invitations to waste a moment on yesterday. So he says, write it in your heart that this day is the best day. And no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. And as I read that, I'm reminded of another story that I wanted to share with you about my experience and how the possibility for letting my day be taken away by someone else or something else, because it doesn't always have to be a person, it can be a thing. So I used to do a lot of workshops, and so one day I had my workshop material, and I was sitting out on my patio, and there's a little bit of a breeze going through, a few leaves falling, so I had my laptop, and I had my notes, and I had my cup of tea. So I'm sitting there making my notes and stuff, and I sip a cup of tea, and I sip another cup of tea, and I felt something in my throat. And I thought, oh, God, it's a little windy out. Maybe I swallowed a leaf or something, or a piece of trash or something. I better pay attention. So then I felt a little stick in my throat. It was like a pinprick. And I thought, started clearing my throat, so I had to cough it out. So when I coughed it out, it was a bee. Yeah, it was a bee and apparently the bee had stung me. And so here I am, about to let a bee have my day. So again, well, what happened was, this is what my son said. Well, what happened was, so anyway, I spit the bee out, and then I realized what had happened, and I went back to my old training. I had taken some training with Louise Hay about healing your life. I consider myself a healer, and so I immediately went into those affirmations. I started saying to myself, I am a healer, I can heal this, I am a healer. And I had my hands on my throat, and the bee is still kicking around, and I could still feel the sting in my throat. But I couldn't let it go because I knew at the very fiber of my being that there was something in me that was more powerful, everywhere present, all powerful. This is a moment I've been waiting for all my life. I've been waiting for these moments when I can step into my own, step into my wholeness, own my day, own my minute, own my hour. And then I can own my day. And until I can own my day, my day is not up for grabs. It is not up for grabs. It's not up for grabs for my children. It's not up for grabs for my grandchildren. It's not up for grabs for my siblings, my neighbors. It is not up for grabs. The only way someone's going to have my day is because I give it to them. And my days are way too precious to allow my own insecurities, my own ignorance to the laws of the universe, to allow it to be taken away from me. So years ago, when I started my spiritual journey in religious science, we had practitioner training. And so I was given this big manual, and I really didn't know how bad my life really was. And because there was always someone else that I could put that blame on. I would give it to my ex-husband, I didn't have any money, blah, 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 blah. So my teacher gave me, this is about 30 years ago, gave me something to read. And I just read it because I didn't think it applied to me. And it wasn't until many years later that I realized that it did happen. It was applicable to me. And it's a poem that you might recognize. It was written by a woman named Portia Nelson. And she was at a workshop, a seminar or something, and they were asked to write their life story on these little 4x4 cards. And apparently they didn't want them talking for a long time, but so she wrote a poem, and she titled it, she said, My Life in 5 Short Chapters. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost and hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find my way out. Chapter 2 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I see it. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It's not my fault, but I do get out immediately. Chapter 4 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5 of my life. I walk down a different street. So what is said to me when I finally got it, that I am in charge of my life. I do have choices. Some of them may be out of my control. For instance, the fires, those are out of my control. The hurricanes, those kinds of things are out of my control outwardly, but inwardly, I have an opportunity to reach deep down and figure out how to change the direction of my life. So thinking about chapter 1, recall your journey down the sidewalk of life. Can you think about any experiences of what your experiences have been? Maybe think about some good times that you've had, or even some bad times. Most importantly, consider the question, have you ever fallen in one of those holes in the sidewalk? I know I've fallen into many holes in the sidewalk. And what I do is recognize those holes in the sidewalk. I don't blame myself anymore. I don't blame the city. I don't blame anybody. I'm aware that there are holes in the sidewalk. So perhaps you've been just walking down the street, minding your own business, and it seems like the bottom just fell out. Suddenly, you find yourself in the pit of frustration, anger, and anxiety, or grief and despair. These are all real situations. Perhaps you've confronted a loss, changes and challenges that caught you by surprise and seemed out of control. Chapter 1, sometimes it's true. Chapter 1 is sometimes true and tells us exactly how life is. Sometimes as you walk down the sidewalk of life, you wind up in a deep hole, not of your own making. So, like I said earlier, if you live on the coast during hurricane season, the winds and rains may come up along to damage your house. Perhaps you're in the workforce and your job is no longer in existence. Certainly with the events since April of this year with COVID-19, for me, it seemed like there was a big hole in my sidewalk. Recently, I lost a sister to COVID-19. She lived in New York. I wasn't able to go to be with her. My husband lost his father 2 weeks ago. He lived in another state. We weren't able to go to the services. 3 of my cousins have passed away within the last 3 weeks. So sometimes my life seems like there's a dark hole in my sidewalk. And so I not necessarily struggle to get out of the hole anymore, but I look at what I bring with me to the hole. What I bring is an awareness that even though I may struggle, it's not necessary that I struggle. I didn't have anything to do with this, but here I am. Sometimes it's just the nature of life, and we can't do anything about it. And we find ourselves in chapter 1 falling into the hole. And what I do for myself, what I say to myself when I am frustrated, I say to myself, it's all right. It's okay. You're doing the best you can. You're keeping the doors open. You're keeping your eyes open. You're keeping your ears open. It's okay. Help's on the way. And that gives me a sense that I have control of my life. And hopefully grow from these experiences. And I am growing from these experiences. I'm growing from the knowing that no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, God's presence is always with me as a flow of ease and joy. I need not fret. I need not worry. I need not have any anxiety. I need to focus within. So chapter 2. The question is, have you ever found yourself exactly in the same hole? So again and again. So chapter 2 says, I walk down the same street, there's a deep hole, I pretend I don't see it, I fall in again. I can't believe it, I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still just takes a long time to get out. So my question to you is, are you in the exact same place, the exact same bad relationship, but with a different person for the 10th time? How is it that you get the same type of conflict all the time? Your boss. Your boss is so negative and critical and always expects so much. My kids, my son, my daughter, my brother, my sister. The cycle just keeps going on and on. You cannot believe that it is happening to you and to me one more time. Why does this happen to me, you probably ask yourself? Why do they always do this to me? Why? When will they ever stop? Why can't they understand what they make me do? Why don't they understand what they're making me think? If other people would just act right, my life would go so much better. So when I start saying that to myself, I start to work harder to get other people to change. So I keep trying to get other people to change. Falling into the same hole often enough, you might wake up and ask yourself, what did I do to get here? One of the things I did, I used to take a lot of classes from Louise Hay, and one of her famous classes is You Can Heal Your Life. And she introduces the idea that our thoughts create our, well, she didn't introduce it, but that's one of her principles. Our thoughts really do create our reality. And over years, I've come to realize that that is exactly the case for me. So we move on to chapter 3. I walk down the same street again. There's a hole, fall in. My eyes are wide open. I know where I am. Still fall in, but I get out immediately. So what chapter 3 challenges us to do is to finally wake up. Falling into the same hole often enough, and you may come to this realization. With the frequent occurrences of the same or similar events, you sense that these things do not happen by chance. Maybe this repetition is a pattern that is not just, I can't see that, inflicted on you solely by others. Such a recurrence of events must mean this is going to hurt. It must mean that you and me are playing a role in creating them. One of the main principles in religious science and science of mind is we are the creator. We are co-creators with our lives. That means for me that I am co-creating with spirit. I am co-creating with the universe. So with that in mind, would it not serve me better to co-create what works best for me? As we go along the sidewalk of life, we all fall into holes of psychological and spiritual distress. Sometimes it seems that we are even shoved. I could have sworn a couple of times that somebody actually pushed me into those holes because it wasn't my fault. I was doing the best I could. They were doing it to me, and I was shoved into that hole. It wasn't my fault. Initially, it appears that it's not my fault to be in such a situation once again. However, as I continue the journey of life, I often find myself falling into the same holes more than once. When we do so, we're given the opportunity to recognize that there is actually a pattern in our lives. Ooh, that's another word, pattern. This is really interesting. Patterns do not exist until an event happens more than once. So, okay. A pattern cannot be recognized until we have encountered a situation in all its various forms, several times. Only with repetition is it possible to see the pattern or cycle. Once the pattern is seen, the possibility of new insight arises. So the next time you find yourself once again in one of life's familiar holes, and you are busy saying, "It's not my fault. Don't blame me. Who is responsible for this? It's the weatherman's fault. It is my sister's fault. It is the coffee pot. It is the bed. I was walking along, minding my business. I walked into the living room, and the couch jumped out in front of me, and I stomped my toe. It's not my fault. I walk through that hallway every day, 10, 15, 20 times a day. It's not my fault. I know it's there, but what I do now is I'm aware. Even if the lights are off, I'm aware that that couch is there, and it is painful. So what role did I play in creating the circumstances that placed me in this hole? That's another ouch. What role did I play? Well, now that I think about it, I walked down the street and there was a hole. I wasn't paying attention, so I just fell in. Oh, it took me forever to get out. But you know what? It wasn't my fault. I still made it to work. I was late. So when my boss says, "Why are you late?" Yeah, there was this big hole in the sidewalk. I fell in. Well, didn't you fall in that same hole yesterday? Yeah, but that wasn't my fault either. My alarm clock was a little bit off, and so it didn't go off, so I was hurrying. It wasn't my fault. So we repeat chapters 1, 2, and 3. And when I find myself in these cycles, one of the things that you might find helpful is call for a timeout. Because I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes I can remember the law of inertia, which means that an object in motion will remain in motion until it meets an equally opposing object. And so that's the same is true with our thoughts. A thought in motion, doesn't matter what the thought is, it will remain in motion and it will collect other evidence and it will keep going and keep going and keep going until it meets an equally opposing thought. The other side of that is if it doesn't meet an opposing thought, guess what? When you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to walk down the same street, you're going to fall into that same hole, and you're going to make the assumption that it's not your fault. So what I do when I find the cycle repeating itself, I said earlier that I use affirmations. I have lots of affirmations. I have affirmations every place so that I'm never caught in a situation where at least it may take me a little bit longer to get out of the hole, but I can always say, you know, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the peace of God enfolds me. I know that there's an answer to this situation. I know that the infinite intelligence that dwells in me speaks in peace and not in confusion. So I call upon that power, that presence, and that activity to come forth into my life, into my experience, to shine a different light on this experience so that I may be a different person, so that I may live a different life, so that I may have charge of my own day, so that when someone else or something else seems to reach out and grab my day, they can't have it. I get it back. The truth is that if we, you, me, are not responsible for being in these holes once again, then we are in real trouble. This is because if we are not responsible, it means that someone else is. Maybe not just one person, but a group of people, like your coworkers or your friends. It is even possible that the entire world has decided to conspire against us. Could be. If we are not truly responsible for our current situations and we do not like being in these recurring holes that we face, then we face a dilemma. What do you have to do to find out who is making you miserable? Next, you have to change that person or that group or the entire world to make it exactly the way you want them to be so that you and me can be okay. Your strategy then becomes changing other people. So we fall into the trap of let's fix it. So we don't have to fix it because we're going to still be in the same hole. So chapter 4 of my life, it's getting fun now. So chapter 4 of my life, I walk down the street, there's a big hole, and I walk around it. Wow, after all this time, those prayers and those meditations have started to pay off. and I walk around it. I remember who I am. I start to think different. So once you make one change, it changes everything. Ernest Holmes has said in The Science of Mind, and Louise Hay also said it, the point of power is in the present moment. That's when we have all of our power, right here, right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now. So this is my point of power. So when you find yourself falling into a hole, already in a hole, and you know that it's not your fault, then perhaps the thing to do is, where's my power right now? Where's my point of power? What is written in my heart? What have I taken my pen, my subconscious pen, and written in my subconscious mind? What is there that can get me out of this hole? And I start with that. And then I can keep going. More work to be done. Now my affirmations are working. Now my prayers are working. Now I'm taking responsibility for my life. And then I get to chapter 5. Chapter 5 of my life, I am walking down a different street. Here I go, walking down a different street. I'm bad now. You can't touch me. I'm walking down a different street. But you know, we need those times. We need that break. We need to show our progress when we're walking down the different street. It doesn't mean that the next street there aren't any potholes that we may potentially fall into, but they're going to be totally different holes. If we went through those 5 chapters in our lives and we've looked at life and we've embraced life, we've taken responsibility for our life, it doesn't matter. There are a gazillion streets that we could walk down. And every time we walk down a different street, we make a different choice. And every time we make a different choice, we come back to owning our own life. And we come back to owning our day. And so as you go about your day today, thinking about these amazing things that can happen to you, I don't want you to focus on the holes in the sidewalk. I want you to focus on you and what you can do. So what if there's a hole in the sidewalk? I see it. I just walk around it. It's not my fault. Tomorrow, I can walk down a different street. I got this. I got this. So when we go through life, we've got our stories that have to change. If I want to control my life, I have to change the story. I just have to change the story. And so another way that I change the story is by my affirmations. Every morning when I wake up, I claim the day. I just say, this morning the power of life, which is the only power there is, flows through me in unlimited ways. My mind and my body thoroughly cleansed, and I'm thrilled at the good opportunities that present themselves to me. That hole in the wall, on the sidewalk, that's an opportunity. That leaky coffee pot, that's an opportunity. All those bees that are floating around outside, that's an opportunity for me to make a different choice. So I invite you to take this story to heart. Take some of the ideas that I've said to heart and know that you really can own your day. This is the day that God has made, and I rejoice and I am glad in it. So I bless you with this day. Namaste.
that was awesome. Thank you. Reverend Annie, wonderful talk. Thank you so much. I feel a little like Joni Mitchell. I've looked at holes from both sides now, okay? From win and lose. Okay, it's holes illusions, right? So we gotta look at those holes right now. So let's remember that in our future. That was a wonderful talk. Thank you so much. I love the humor in it as well. So we want to thank Bill also for the wonderful music. We wouldn't be the same without it. And let's affirm our principles right now. We like to say these every week and just embody them. So let's go over them together. Number 1, God is good. God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. Number 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. Number 3, I create my experience, but what I choose to think and what I feel and what I believe. Number 4, through ruminative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And number 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know I make a difference. And one of the ways that we can make a difference, of course, is by sharing our gifts with Unity of Orange County, and we try to make that easy for you. There's many options. You can do it through our website. You can mail us a check. If you're, old school, that's all good. Just mail us in a check to our Verdugo address. You can download our app, which is what I did, and I think it's like the easiest thing in the world. You download the app, you set up a recurring payment, and you never have to think about it again. And then you get a lovely email that says your recurring payment has been posted. And so you're like, yes. And so it's like painless because you don't have to think about it, and it's right there ready to go for you. So that's an option. And or you can text us at 77977 and put in the message, Unity of OC Give. And that will get us as well. And we, whatever way you choose to share your gifts with us, we just solely appreciate it because it is what keeps us here every Sunday. It is what brings you the message, and so we're very grateful for that. So next Sunday is Reverend Lardine will be back, and her talk, and I just was thinking about, I think next Sunday, I don't know if it's Labor Day, I think it's the following week. But anyway, next week, her talk is Labor Not in Vain. So I think that sounds like a fun thing to listen to, so be prepared for that next week. And let's close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And I believe all is well. So thank you all for joining us this morning, and have a very blessed week.